welcome to our cover story conversation with Neerja Chaudhary. She's a senior journalist, former editor, but she's also the author of the best-selling book, How Prime Ministers Decide. In fact, Neerja, congratulations on the book, which is once again in the news with Arvind Kejriwal taking it as a must-read to spend his time in prison. So, that book is really doing the rounds. I must say, congratulations on that.
Thank you. I hope he'll enjoy reading, and I'd like to have a conversation with him afterwards about what he makes of it. Because he's a savvy politician.
He is. In fact, I think you should do a sequel on how chief ministers decide, because I think Arvind Kejriwal will be a very good person. In fact, his work style, how would you compare him to any of the prime ministers, or you think it is his own unique style?
Overall, people call him many things. They think he's too smart. Yesterday, somebody told me, I'll tell you about this conversation yesterday, that he's savvy politically. He thinks on his feet politically. There are people who think politically and people who don't think politically. They may be in politics. So that is the interesting thing about Kejriwal. And even before he entered politics, somebody told me, who was in the Right to Information movement, a very senior bureaucrat, that 10 years before the Anna Hazare movement, and this gentleman in the bureaucracy had asked him, so kya irada hai? So he said politics. So he's a marathon runner who the Hazare movement came, and he obviously had a role. Anna Hazare, he had a role in making him the face of the movement, and then transiting to becoming a party, then a party that was his and could not be captured by others who wanted, who were playing a important role also. So he knew where he was headed. And of course, he is also one of those who takes decisions himself. Like they used to say about him, my way or highway man.
Correct.
But he knows what he wants. He knows where he's headed. And he's got sharp political instincts. And as I say, he's a marathon runner. So where anybody's got a huge, humongous machinery of the BJP against him. And they probably sense that as an alternative to them in the future, not today. Today he's got 1.5 states with him, Punjab and Delhi. But in the future, he may be a challenge. So that's something they would not like to countenance. And I think that also is behind their moving the way they have against him. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense to arrest sitting chief minister in the middle of the elections. It could become counterproductive. It could generate sympathy. And I have a suspicion moving around Delhi and talking to people that it is generating sympathy for him. Even those who've never voted for him and those who don't like him. Because this, they say, is not on. You could have done it before, you could have done it after the election. But anyway, that's Kejriwal. That's an interesting, as you say, an interesting style of functioning, interesting rise, making, coming out of a movement. There have been very few parties, hardly any parties who've come out of a movement except the AGP from the Assam movement. But that too is only limited to one state. And, subnationalism. His has become a national party in 10 years. For all it wants. So let's see where it all goes.
Which is interesting. I take your point from where you said the BJP sees him as a bigger threat than perhaps even the Congress. Congress currently is there, but he has the potential of becoming the bigger threat, right?
And remember, after the first elections, at that time, people used to say he could become the alternative to the Congress. Now, that's a long way to go because Congress is an old pan-India party for all its faults. And it is still there. You find a congressman in every village, even today. So, but it has to get back on track. It's got to get its act together. That we all know. So it's a long haul for him, but certainly he's also come a long way for all the difficulties that he's faced.
Exactly. In fact, his work style, what you were saying, and a lot of other people have made that comparison does he remind you of Modi? Is he a Modi light? What you said, 24/7 politician, think out of the box, reinvent himself as his need arises?
And also a pro-Hindu party, a soft Hindu party. Of course, in his
Yes.
case, without being anti-minority, at least so far he's steered that very carefully. But at one time, you remember, he used to be called the B team of the RSS. At a
Yes.
future date, they may look at him also. And that would also worry some people in the BJP. But yes, he's given the Hinduization of the Hindus today in the country, he's positioning his party very carefully as a party that delivers, is not caught in the ideological cleft, so to speak, but is pro-Hindu without being anti-Muslim, but will deliver on A, B, C, D, Bijli Pani School, Mohalla clinics, and so on. A module that is being studied by different states of India today.
In fact, yeah, because you look at it, if Modi has a Gujarat model, Kejriwal has a Delhi model. If he's talking about Hinduism, one of the three books that he asked for, two of them were Bhagavad Gita and the Ramayana. So he's also known to spout the Hanuman Chalisa at a moment's notice. So he's also playing up his Hindu card. Then again, there's another comparison between the two, which I'd like you to talk about, how they are both very almost dictatorial. It's a one-man central rule. Modi has made that into the BJP. Arvind Kejriwal has that in the Aam Aadmi Party.
That is a commonality. They're used to getting their way. And if you disagree with them, then you may invite trouble.
My way or the highway, as you said.
Yes, that certainly. And yet 24/7, having the pulse of the people. Sam Dam Dand Bhed. Also appealing to an aspirational India, young India, selling things. That things are going to be different. We'll make things different. It's not a gloom and doom story. This is what I find, problematic about the other parties.
Congress.
And the Congress in particular. This is going wrong, this is going wrong, this is going wrong, this will happen, It's not a futuristic call. This is where we are going to take the country. You come with us. This is what we believe in. Then they're not able to strike that note, which resonates with young India. Not so far. Maybe they will.
Maybe. Well, in the interest of our viewers, the Congress is coming out with its manifesto in 2 days. We're having this conversation before that. But having said that, I agree with you. The messaging is really important, and that is where the Congress is really faltering, as Neeja has also pointed out. A little bit more about the Congress messaging. They may have the right ideas, like Nyaya, it may be a great scheme. They're talking about vocational training. They've been talking about some, but they're somehow not able to get it across, perhaps because Rahul is so bent on attacking the Prime Minister, he's not sending, as you said, any positive aspirational message across.
Yeah, Rahul spoke very well at the Ram Leela grounds, as did Priyanka also. They were combative and they made their points. But again, Rahul used a word which the BJP is latched onto. Agar aisa nahi hota to aag lag jayegi desh mein. I thought, ooh. Now that's a word they were going to catch hold of, and they did.
Yeah,
they hold of that word. So it's as somebody said, for Rahul, it's a bhasha ka lafda also. Using
he
the
thinks in English and talks in Hindi.
Yes, but it is not. Rahul is not. People think Rahul is a good chap. He's mean well. He's very sincere. Yeah. But it's a counter to Modi. To take on, to be as the future Prime Minister of India, apart from those who are against Modi and are dissatisfied, who will see Rahul as the alternative. I think the others are not, the fence sitters, the people in the middle, they are not enthused at all. He doesn't arouse that kind of loyalty. Now, Kejriwal, I went to that Ram Leela ground to just get a feel of what people, the sentiment of people. It's not just the crowds or the leaders speaking. And I came across a family, 3 people, a young girl, 7th class, and her parents who'd come all the way from West Delhi, traveling on their own. And she said simply, मुझे आर्मी ऑफिसर बनना है और मैं आई हूं क्योंकि हमें केजरीवाल को जेल से छुड़ाना है.
Wow.
Now, that sentiment, I was reminded of the Ram Leela grounds meeting when Anna Hazare movement was going on. Again, moving around people. Again, I'd come across a family, Sonipat se aaye the, with children. And they said, we've come here because we didn't see the freedom struggle. And something new is happening today. We don't want our children to miss out on this. Now, whether that, satisfied people's aspirations and it turned out to be very different, that was what led to the rise of Narendra Modi. That upsurge that took place during the Anna Hazare movement. So I think, that kind of loyalty to arouse, that kind of enthusiasm to arouse, that Rahul is not able to do so far, at least.
No, that I agree with you, which is why, I want to ask you a question. A lot of people came for Kejriwal, even though in these elections he's not really that much of a player. Do you see this his arrest impacting more in the Delhi assemblies, or will it have any impact in the Lok Sabha Delhi also?
I think it'll impact Delhi. I think there is a sympathy. We may be wrong. I may be wrong. There is a sympathy that this should not have been done. Zati hui hai, which is what people use. Punjab, it will have an impact. It may have a little bit of an impact in Haryana because the Congress and the AAP are together, and the Congress will put up a good fight against the BJP. Now, whether it creates in other parts of India feeling कि ज़्यादा हो रहा है, कि ठीक नहीं है. Will it create that kind of a sentiment? India is so diverse. You cannot say South will not be affected by the North and North by the South. You remember 1977, Indira Gandhi lost so badly in North of India, but South stayed with her. And it happened several times later also. South deserted VP Singh, North stayed with, the alternative that he put in place in 1989. So, it's very difficult to predict. And this is not to say that Modi is losing ground. Modi is to be this popular after 10 years, they are not leaving anything to chance because they had peaked in 2019 all over the North. So they're just pulling out all stops. Look at the way he's touring in Tamil Nadu.
Is Modi, I agree, Modi is not losing that much ground that he'll lose the election, but is he losing some ground? Because he has peaked in the North. Now he's trying, as you said, touring South, but not making that much of an impact also, except for states in Karnataka where the BJP already is.
Yeah, but Karnataka too, you remember it was 25 out of 28 in 2019. Now, with the Congress government in power there, it's very difficult to match that. So also Maharashtra, they were with their ally Shiv Sena 41 out of 48. That's a huge number. Now to match that also with allies, of course Shinde Sena is there and Ajit Pawar NCP is there. So let's see, people say it's going to be half and half, but they will lose there also. Bihar, it'll be very interesting also to see because Nitish Kumar has gone back, but will they be able to do the 39 out of 40 that they did in 2019. So they will lose in parts of India like that, states of India. And as far as Rajasthan, 25 out of 25, Madhya Pradesh, 28 out of 29, very difficult to match. Even if they do, it's not an addition to make up the loss elsewhere. So yes, they're really pulling out. For every seat, there is a fight going on. So will they, I think though the Prime Minister has talked about 370, and 400 par. I think if they better their last tally of 303, they will be very, very happy.
How will the voters decide? I think, Neerja, is what you're talking about.
That's right.
And especially, can we focus on the state of UP? We are hearing there is this Modi versus Yogi, little bit of hit-pit. We'd heard about Amit Shah versus Yogi, but now I believe the Prime Minister is also not giving him a free hand. Have you heard anything of that sort? And also, can the BJP afford to do without Yogi? He's got a own cult figure of his own.
Look, Priya, we've just been talking about how, it's the party peaked in 2019 in North India. UP is the one state where they can make a leap from 62 to 71, which they got in 2014, or 72, is something which will help them offset the losses in other states, which seem to be on the cards where the Congress has come to power, Karnataka, Telangana, and so on. So I think UP is one of the most important states even in this election. UP has always decided who will be Prime Minister of India. Narendra Modi decided to shift to Banaras in 2014. And if remember, if they had not got 71 seats in 2014, it would have been a coalition government at the center. They would have been down. Suppose it was a tally of 40.
Correct.
So it had the UP not stayed the way it did in 2019, it would have been a different story. So UP will remain very important. And I think my guess is they will try and up their number by at least about 10. Now, how do they do that? Yes, there are differences. Narendra Modi did not, Yogi Adityanath was not his choice as chief minister the first time. It was Manoj Sinha. Manoj Sinha was all set to go to Lucknow when this won, and it was a last minute upturn. And Yogi had his way, and the RSS backed it. But that's now history. Yes, Yogi is seen by some as a future prime ministerial candidate in the post-Modi era. But so is Amit Shah. So that makes them, they neither will want the other to gain strength. All is a fact in politics. But also a fact in politics is that none of the three are going to gain if they do badly and fight each other and work at cross purposes in Uttar Pradesh. I think when chips are down, they will move in tandem. There may be a little bit of here and there khichatani that happens, at the time of tickets. It's my person versus your person, but at the end of the day, it suits all three of them to put their best foot forward in UP.
And what about the Ram Mandir? Sorry.
We'll have the fights later.
Yeah, that's true. First, have something worth fighting for. What about the Ram Mandir? Has that peaked, or do you think it will have some impact on the party faithful?
Look, there is impact in, again, North Indian states, particularly in Uttar Pradesh, naturally. I had a journalist colleague tell me that he had covered the opening, the consecration of the temple, and he'd been there for 2-3 weeks. And then he went back home to Banaras, Varanasi. And he said, my friends who are professionals, doctors, 2 of them doctors, one an insurance agent, one somebody else, he said they touched my feet because I had been at the opening of the Ayodhya temple. So that's the kind of thing it has aroused. Yet, it's also a fact that south of the Vindhyas, even in Maharashtra where I've been traveling, it is not such an issue at all. And also people say, and I don't know how true this is, but these kind of voices one is hearing, that the BJP would have thought that Mandir will do for them in 2024 what Pulwama did in 2019.
Correct.
The fervor is there, but it is not quite, it is petering out somewhat and may not give them that kind of a gain that they may have expected.
So then what is the big emotional connect that can sway the voters the way Pulwama did, the way Ayodhya has been doing all along?
There's only one issue in this election, and that is Narendra Modi.
And he has the emotional connect.
He will deliver, it is him, that either those who are disagreeing with him are because of him, those who are agreeing with him is because what they want, what they have, what he has to offer.
But is there
Indira Gandhi had said in 1971 when a foreign journalist had asked her, what is the issue in this election? She said, I am the issue. 1918, again, it was that she is the issue. I think, again, this time also Narendra Modi is the issue of 2024. This doesn't mean there aren't the other issues that are going to guide people. The central theme is Narendra Modi.
No, in fact, he also said it's the same, I think, in 2019 to an television interview, कि क्या मुद्दा है? He's saying Modi मुद्दा है. He's been also following the same trajectory in terms of the issue. But having said that, then why would he do something like this ED cases, freezing the Congress account, arresting Kejriwal? Because it's showing a sign of panic from their side and some kind of a sympathy for the opposition. I'm not understanding the strategy behind this.
देखो मुझे भी ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा. I'm not understanding. If you're and people raise it, not that you and I are talking about it.
Right.
But say if you're talking about 400 seats, then why why are you worried about a Kejriwal in 1.5 states? How does it matter if you put him in jail afterwards? How much campaigning does he do? How much damage will he do?
Yeah.
And what you are doing is invite criticism from all over. Not only invite criticism, but you are creating sympathy for him when none existed earlier.
Yeah,
And then-
suddenly you were there, the Ramlila rally. There were posters of Kejriwal in the backdrop. He's become the face of the rally and the opposition campaign.
People saying, I'm Kejriwal.
I am Kejriwal, yeah. So why he's just creating a cult for what the game plan is, one will have to wait and watch, of course. But with Modi, there is always a game plan. I think there's never a reactionary move. But just before I let you go, I've also read your piece about Supriya Sule. You interviewed her. How do you see that playing out, the Pawar versus Pawar battle, and how is the original NCP feeling?
I went to Baramati. And, because I think that's a constituency which reflects the politics of Maharashtra today. Pawar versus Pawar is going to decide the future of Maharashtra politics. If Supriya Sule wins, then Sharad Pawar gets strengthened. And in that sense, even a very weakened Sharad Pawar at the tail end of his political life does get strength, and so does the opposition alliance. If Ajit Pawar wins, then, politics, the entire NCP space, political space that Sharad Pawar has nurtured over the decades, then move to Ajit Pawar. He already has the MLAs in the organization with him. Now, what I found, everybody you talk to say Ajit Pawar ne kaam kiya hai constituency. And Priya, it's a constituency worth visiting. It's really a modern, my driver said to me, it's better than Pune.
Wow.
The kind of, infrastructure, academic would come from the US. He said, this is like American university, the Vidya Nagari that they have built over the years, and modern institutions that people now want to get into. So, Ajit Pawar ne kaam kiya hai logon ka. But sympathy is with Sharad Pawar. We cannot inflict pain on him towards the end of his life. We cannot do it after all that he has done for us. So this is going to be, and he has allowed Ajit Pawar to do the work. He's the one who groomed him. So they didn't like Ajit Pawar moving to the other side. A lot of people don't like it. And they would not like, many people said to me, it's like a dharm sankat for us. They use the word maha tension hai hamare liye. Kis tarah se hum vote kare? So it will be a very interesting battle to see.
Whether it's a vote for the past or the vote for the aspiration future. I mean, that's going to be really the vote in Baramati, I think. But on that note, Neeja, I'm going to keep having more conversations with you as you also do your travel, and we've been reading your works and your book, of course. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this. And once again, congratulations on an excellent book. I think it is not just the book of the year, book of the decade, I would say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priya, for those words. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.